Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my session. In this session, I will discuss product management using a real-life example. Let me first briefly introduce myself. Usually, I work at line planning department where we plan lineups, new features, improvements, enhancements, and so forth. And as I mentioned earlier, I will today focus on product management at Line. Product management is all about monozukuri for us, similar to manufacturing. I will use the actual product as I go through the process. So I've taken up Smart Channel as an example. So I hope you'll enjoy the next 40 minutes. First off, this is about product management, not product engineering. I would like to understand who you are. So, with show of hands, please let me know. Who are engineers? About 70% of you? Product managers? Oh, great, thank you. 10%, probably. Then, project managers. Now, this is getting a little complicated, but yes, a handful. You may be wondering how many more questions I have. Data scientists? Thank you. Designers? Oh, okay. I've got a diverse audience here. Who of you are surfers? None of you. Well, sorry about that. It is my hobby. I love to surf. If any of you were surfers, I was wondering whether I could get some very good information about surfing locations and so forth. Anyway, let me get started. Here is my agenda today. First off, I will cover the overview of Smart Channel, which has been taken up yesterday, therefore you may already know it. But anyway, I'll cover that, and then I will talk about the project overview, and then product management of Smart Channel as what happened during that process. Towards the end, I'd like to conclude by summing my presentation up with the concept of line-like product management. All right, Smart Channel. Well, you might have heard a lot about it since yesterday, so you may already know this. Who knows Smart Channel? Oh, okay. There were about 4 sessions about Smart Channel. You might have heard more than enough about it, but anyway, I'll go through the overview of it. It's over here. Talk list, as we call it, has this top portion with various content displayed. So this part is Smart Channel. And certainly, news content can come in, fortune telling, manga notification. Okay, who has seen it on your phone? Who has not seen it on your phone? All right, great. Could be a bug. Anyway. Now, I have to muster all my courage to ask you this question. Who loves Smart Channel? Be honest. Don't be politically correct. All right. Up to 5% maybe? I asked the same question in-house, and only 10% of my colleagues would raise their hands. Oh, it's line like culture, I guess. But as we have all seen, the talk list, the very important part, displays this type of information, and sometimes it's difficult to be accepted. How can we make it more acceptable? So actually, that's the journey that I would like to talk about today, because it seems like it's somewhat unique. What sort of user experience is this causing? So this is manga notification. As you have read some series of manga books, when a new copy or new version comes up, new issue comes up, oh, this one is called Kingdom, the notification comes and you push it and you jump to the manga purchase site. You press and immediately the content is available. New manga notification has been sent as a message through official account, which has often been overlooked. Now, this is shown in the area which is extremely obvious to the users and the users who are interested in it. So that's one of the examples that Smart Channel can offer. Now, it's the top part of the talk list, as I mentioned. Actually, we are aiming at something broader. The top part of the talk list is one of the media. What Smart Channel aims at is to aggregate all the line contents and deliver user-specific information. And we want the Smart Channel to be a platform for that. So not only the talk list, the top part of the talk list, we want to use it in various other places. You might have seen these numbers since yesterday. These are the very basic stats of Smart Channel. Daily, we have 500 million impressions, 100 million globally unique users, and various contents are delivered. About 60,000 contents are delivered daily, and you receive only those which are relevant to you. So that was about the overview of Smart Channel. Let me now move into the project overview and then how we go about making that product. First of all, about the global team. Smart Channel itself is developed in or released in Japan, Taiwan, and Thailand, indicated with green fonts. And our team comprises those who come from these three countries as well as Korea and Indonesia. The team itself is 100 plus strong. So globally, this is relatively a large group of people. Another thing that is unique is that this Smart Channel global team is very diverse in terms of the roles. Server engineers, client engineers, machine learning engineers, data scientists. We also have researchers, content directors, what sort of content to be delivered, how type of directions are being done by content directors who come from different parts of the world. Another thing that may be interesting is that, well, you may be wondering where we get those diverse people, and this current Smart Channel team is sort of a loosely coupled organization. we have picked and chosen those who are very good at different domains.
For example, the headquarters of Line, or new team, or data lab, or Line research, and also add-on platforms. In our company, we are providing various services and experts in the varieties of areas. So that's why I call it Ameba team, because we have a gathering of talented people coming together for this smart channel. It's almost like a zoo. Some may not like it, but we call it zoo because various type of people get together and voice their opinions. And before I go into the product management, let me talk about the project timeline. The plan started July last year. And for limited number of users, we conducted preliminary tests. And after that, we done secret release. So only a limited number of users were exposed to this. And the release in Japan was April this year, and Thailand and Taiwan, July this year. So here we are now. So this is a very simple timeline since its inception. So a little over 1 year since its start. So I talked about the product and then the project. So now I would like to give you the detail of the product management. Again, to talk about this product management, maybe I should use this product timeline to show you what we done in our team and what type of discussion we had. I really want to make it graphic. Last year, July, the planning started. I still clearly remember that day. Suddenly, I was called up to a meeting. And there was a proposal about this project. So that was like this. So when you open up talk list, then there will be weather or news coming up the top of it. And I was told to operate this project. So I am a member of the Line planning project, and as a user for Line, this screen is very important, talk screen. And I don't think people will like that idea. And I'm a normal person, so of course I thought that it is not really a good idea. So I was thinking about it. But I couldn't just say no, because it could be my subjective opinion. So one idea came up on me. Let's hear user's voice. Listening to user's voice, and I can say, see, everyone doesn't like it to have. So let's stop it. So I was going to destroy the project itself. And I could be maybe chastised later on, but this was the true story. I did wanted to destroy the project. The Line always respect users' voice. So why don't I collect users' voice saying that they don't want to have media on top of the talk screen. So I was a very bad product manager. So I did. So this was the result. So this was not the only one, but we asked several questions. On top of the talk list, showing the contents appropriate for the users. What do you think of this? So this was the survey. Blue dark means dark blue means positive. So the brighter you go, people become negative. But unexpectedly, not so many negative opinions. I couldn't understand the result. So the gray, I thought that it would be all gray and no more project. But when I conducted the survey, the result was not that I expected. So my plan didn't work. Other than this, lots of surveys were conducted. And according to the survey, there was no statistically significant result that I said I could not really do it. So I was like this. Now I am a product manager. Now people are okay with this idea. So I had to work on it. So I am one worker for a company. So I decided to change my mind. Rather than destroying the project, why or how do I proceed this project? And I thought it was rather difficult, but changing my mind and try to make it successful in the future. So paradigm shift took place, and I started being excited about it because it was not easy. If it was easy, was probably okay, but intuitively I thought it was not good. So if I make it successful case, then it is going to be a worthwhile for me. You may say that you're such a simple person, but that was how I understood. So that was the beginning of the project. So what did we do after that? So preliminary test. So it started in July, and next week, preliminary test already started.
This is what we called preliminary test. If you are to start this, as we plan the details of it, we wanted to understand what sort of content would be acceptable to the users. At that time, we did not have the smart channel system itself. So we had to use the existing mechanism to simulate the outcome. This is line dilemma. With point incentives displayed, what sort of reactions will we get? And we compared various types of content. Last year in July and August timeframe, you might have seen it. Do you remember this? Oh, yes. What did you think of it? Well, we delivered this only to 100,000 users, a limited subset of the users. And about 5 times a week, we run various tests of this kind. Oh, this is one of line style development, as we call quick and dirty. So, as we did this, eventually we tested all sorts of different content, as you can see on the vertical axis. And just like the previous chart, dark blue positive, gray negative. and the acceptability varied depending on the content.
その上でさらにコンテンツでもこういうふうなコンテンツだったら受け取っていただけるみたいなことがこの実験を通して
With these tests, we began to understand what sort of content would be appreciated.
試験っていうのもそうですねリコメンデーションのエンジンには
And this kind of an insight is also reflected in our recommendation engine.
で実際にこうやっていろんなテストはしつつ
Running these tests
もちろん
coincided
このテストだけしてるとものづくりはできないので
with
開発ですね
development,
っていうところは進んでいってます
architecting.
でスマートチャンネルの、機能ですね、発表もあったと思うんですけども
As has been announced, Smart Channel has such features
人が作るぐらい優秀でして
developed by extremely high caliber engineers.
が追いついてなくて怒られたっていうことが多いぐらいなんですけども
Planning department was late in planning than
開発が進行していきます
the engineers developing the features.
内容っていうのは
They were really fast.
渡辺さんによる
And the details were described yesterday
ふうなところで紹介されてます
by Watanabe-san under the title of The Art of Smart Channel.
ログミーも公開されると思いますのでよろしくお願いします
I am sure the video archive will become available to you.
で企画サイドではいろんな
So, on the planning side, we tested various types of contents,
エンジニアリングサイドではものづくり
and on the side of the engineering,
実際には
development work continued. And then we entered the next phase of releasing the product.
注目していただきたいのは
What is noteworthy
2000
is that in 2018,
プロジェクトが開始してでも7月も
after we started our project, in end of July, I remember that was about the time my son's summer vacation started. We performed the secret release in November. So it's a little more than 3 months. And this also is an indication of how good our engineers are. Then we go on to the public release, which we did very carefully. Because as the actual step, we opened or published the product to 1 million users, and we monitored KPIs, and we also monitored social media. We also run surveys. Although we did preliminary testing, we had to make sure that this product was okay to be published. Actually, as we released to 1 million users, many would tweet, "What is this? BS's. I will uninstall it. I don't like it." Type of responses we got a lot. So, as the Smart Channel team, we really listened to them very earnestly. And as we did so, we also identified areas of improvement as well. So, what were we looking at as we collected such information? On the left is a dashboard, which gives us various stats about Smart Channel. So KPI-related matters can be observed very quickly. On the right-hand side are the social media. So end of November, we released the product, and we began to see lots of posts which are categorized in terms of the volume as well as the proportion of positive views and negative views and how they change over time. It would have been interesting to show you the actual tweets, but our marketing did not agree to me doing that. But we really listened to the very honest and candid view of our users. By the way, as we did this practice, as we listened to the voices of our users, we wanted to understand how silent users would react to this. So I made my wife a target user so that my wife's smartphone displays Smart Channel, and I was observing how she reacts. She did not say anything. She hasn't said anything. I don't know when I ask her what she thinks. Probably when I ask her, she would tell me what she thinks. But so that was my attempt of understanding how silent users react to smart channels. You might have done that as well. So we've done these gradual releases, increasing the number of the users who receive the displays, and then 100% release was achieved. So that was about Japan. In Taiwan and Thailand, we did something very similar. In each of these markets, we did gradual releases. So the product was released, the project completed. Probably I should travel to somewhere south to surf to my heart content, but actually, as you understand very well, you get busy right after the launch. So it was just the beginning. So now I'd like to switch gear and talk about it. So this is what I talked about right now. What are we doing right now is what I would like to talk about now.
The first one is very critical. This is really a key success factor for Smart Channel or not. So how appropriate that we can select the contents for the users? By conducting various types of A/B tests, we are improving this selection. As for the detail, Namikawa-san talked about this yesterday. The title of his presentation was Building a Smart Recommender System Across Line Services. So if you were interested in his in this detailed test about the A/B test, please look at this video. Second improvement is about the UX improvement. For example, the left-hand side is before and right-hand side is after. Can you see the difference? 20-30% noticed. The difference is here. So this is a recommendation, a news article, and news source was added at the end of the article. By adding news source, well, I was going to ask you one more question. Do you think CTR increased with this? Thank you. Then do you think CTR decreased? Thank you. So many people raised their hands for increased. It's actually case by case. Sorry. So it is not really a quiz, is it? So the news source really decide whether CTR goes up or goes down. So that was the result of our test. So I should say which news media increase the CTR and then decrease the CTR. But if I do that, then I'm going to be really chastised. So I'm not going to give you the name, but the reliable news source increased CTR, but unreliable one decreased. So I should stop here. So anyway, so it was really realistic feedback from the users. So another example is UX challenge rather than improvement. And I think that you've already watched this, but if you tap it, you can see video. I do not ask you a question because not many people would like to have video. So people probably skeptical about the video. And it was true among ourselves in our group. But we decided to test it on the field and get the feedback from the users. So as for this, the velocity was very good. So we had an idea of this in April, middle of April, and just 1 month we released. I would say this is explosively fast project. So I think it was LINE's strength, the velocity of our operation. The last one is the content improvement. With respect to this, talk list is a very important screen for users. So users don't really want to have information which is just related to LINE. So when you wake up, you try to check the messages in the LINE Talk screen. So this screen is very important media for the user. So we must select the contents which is most appropriate for that. We are responsible for it. So these contents should not be just limited to LINE. We have to show the information which are most relevant to the day-to-day lives of the users. We've already started this type of information. The suspicious person loitering around in the neighborhood, that type of information. And also alerts for typhoons. Recently, we released this one, the delay information in train schedules. So all these information should be useful and also meaningful for your lives. So the smart channel was created like this. And at the end of my talk, I would like to talk about this, the title of my talk. What is line-like product management? What I believe line-like product management were three. First one, always data-driven. As for this, data and voices of the users, all these are the media decision. So when the executive director opinionate on certain things, we don't do that. We always try to decide on data. I was going to destroy the project, but I changed my mind looking at the data. So first feature of LINE is we are always based on data. So listening to users' voices. Second, stay step ahead. I introduced you Smart Channel this time, but when we decide to do something, then in 1 week we conduct preliminary test or any type of actual operation. So as for the video on top of the talk list, we tried it. Of course, we can have discussion among ourselves before we do anything, but these are not fact-based one. So rather than discussing among ourselves, we should just show it to the users and get the feedback from them. So stay a step ahead. That's our line-like product management style. I am a product manager, so I sometimes want to get really get some holidays and I want to go to a warm place and be relaxed, but I can't really do that because I always have to work for the future. The third one is open communication. It really doesn't matter what role you are or which title you have. Our communication is extremely flat. So engineer complain about UX and give very candid opinions for the strategy. And I found it very good. I give you one example at the end of my talk. So this is one example of our open communication. September this year, the typhoon number 15 landfell in Chiba Prefecture. So was a significant damage caused by this typhoon. So a smart channel was broadcasting some information for the victims of the typhoons, like blackouts information and also the location where you can get fresh waters. So we done this, but how did we decide to do this? I share with you what happened. We discussed in line. I didn't really show you everything, so I want to give you the flow. So 1300, one person requested to distribute the information. So damage of Chiba Prefecture should be broadcasted to nationwide audience. However, when we thought about it, rather than broadcasting the damages caused by the typhoon, we really have to provide information for the residents in Chiba Prefecture. So that was very quick, we decided. So that if we can show the location where you can get the fresh water, that will be useful. So in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, so an engineer created the landing page of a line, and in 60 minutes, we decided to distribute this information to what area, and in 2 hours, we distributed. It was very interesting. It was only 2 hours, but we didn't get any approval from our boss. We decided among ourselves that the Smart Channel team, and when it is good, or when we think it's good, we just do it. So it is a product of open communication. So lastly, this is a summary. So what was the line-like product management? And these three were the feature of our product management. line style. And I really like these 3 points of line style. And I think these are interesting for you too. So if you are interested in smart channels, please go to these areas and get to hear the talk from the engineer. That's all from me. Thank you very much.